Warning! The following audio may contain coarse language and other material that may not be suitable for a younger audience. Listener discretion is advised. Also, we may spoil anything and everything, so you have been warned. Hey guys, Giguk here. So before we start, I just want to say this is another archived episode. So this is another episode that was recorded just before we started our hiatus. So again, this was recorded just about a year ago. So apologies for all the old news that we mentioned in this podcast. But we do go on to talk about things that weren't the newest relevant news back then. And there are some pretty good moments in it. So if you want to skip all the old news that we talk about, I'll put a timestamp in the description below. But apart from that, please enjoy the episode. Give us a freestyle, Tristan. Give us a freestyle. I know how much you love
rap. No. This just, you know what this sounds like?
The way that he started.
Man.
Damn it, frickin' Frosty Wayne.
In post-production, I really hope that we can get across just, like, how much of, like, treble and, like, vigorous humping that sounded like. Because it sounded like just, you were...
And the beats just dropped. No.
You were just outside, and Skrillex was like, no.
Oh, wiki, no.
Is that, so the genre is vigorous humping step?
I mean, I feel like vigorous humping step, well, although used very well in Parasite, I feel like...
Fuck you, Holden, I was going to make that joke.
well, I'd say vigorous humping step is actually a genre, because Venetian Snares did an album where he had sex with this woman and recorded all the sounds, and then made a breakbeat album out of the sounds of them having sex.
What? Anyway, should we get to the proper intro about anime?
Oh yeah, you should do that, Garrett.
We talk about anime since when?
Since I
suggested it earlier.
Oh yeah, that was Alan's suggestion. Everybody thank Alan for that.
Hello and welcome to the newest episode of PodTaku. Again, without Gene because we don't know what Gene's doing. Gene, if you're out there, you know, feel free to drop us a line.
She's watching Desperate Housewives and Sex and the City.
Probably. But with me today, I have the usual cast of Holden from Holden Reviews.
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going?
Tristan from Glass Reflection.
Greetings.
And replacing Gene for this podcast, we have Alan from Backer Shift.
I can't believe I'm on PodTaku. I'm going to faint from happiness.
Is this your first PodTaku?
Yeah, I haven't been on the real deal.
Oh shit!
I know this
wow.
is really got to be a dream come true.
Congratulations! It's really not as big as we're making it up to be.
It's like J-Taku.
It's like J-Taku with a different name and the same people.
That is exactly what it is.
Shout outs to the most common comment always being, what's the difference between the two?
I was about to say, what's the difference?
And lastly but not least, I have Kenneth Bolido from Full Circle Anime.
Hi. That's all.
Hi. So, Holden, do you want to get out your notebook of anything you want to talk about?
So something that actually rose, just we can briefly touch base on it, that I think people are going to be excited about, was the announcement of Season 2 of Attack on Titan was confirmed for 2016, with Tetsuo Araki and cast who announced it, which is huge news.
Yeah. It's his first sequel?
It's his first
It
sequel,
is his first sequel for Tetsuo Araki. I don't really
thank
know how to
fuck
feel
he
about
came
this.
back if he didn't, man. Can you imagine?
Considering where he left us.
Yeah.
No, I just mean if it came back without Araki, it
With
just wouldn't
Araki,
be the same
it'd be such a
thing.
different show. Yeah. I think it'd be crazy. But it's been really interesting to see how we handle this in the future, especially given the popularity, of course, of Attack on Titan. And now that like Western distributors and publishers are very aware of what the effect this show has, it's going to be really interesting how they approach it, given that now that they have the warning of, dude, this shit's really popular, how they're going to approach the second season. I think it's going to be very interesting to see all the westernized distribution and localization for that.
Especially since Funimation is doing their localized dubs. Yeah, the broadcast dub stuff.
No, Titan will get a broadcast dub. If Funimation can swing it, they will totally broadcast dub.
Yeah, they should.
It's also just interesting thinking about what the Western anime landscape is going to be like by 2016, because with the freaking massive jumps that have happened just over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, we've lost Naruto.
If the trend continues, by the time Titan comes out again...
we gained Attack on Titan. It's been interesting.
We don't even know if there's going to be another new, huge anime that will take over next year.
No, we don't.
There's nothing on the horizon that seems like it could be, to be honest.
Yeah, can't really think of one.
That's the thing. It doesn't need to be something that you can predict. It can be something that just randomly appears out of nowhere.
Oh, Uta pre-season 3.
although possible, I think what's interesting though is that we kind of predicted and gauged the most popular series for the past few years, you know? Even if we were wrong about some of them, we still were right in that they would be massively popular. So when we were right, when we said Sword Art Online in our first episode, right, we were exactly right in saying it was just as popular as it was. And I think it's interesting that we looked at Kill la Kill, and we said the same thing a couple of like seasons back or a year back, right? And so we've always kind of gauged it, so I'm really interested. Oh man, dude, there's a car. Dude, I'm recording on the street.
They agree with you.
Dude.
Obviously.
It's like, I love Kill la Kill.
Honk if you agree with Holden.
Dude, honk if you think Mako's shit. Man, I got some agreements out there. My window sign. But no, it's gonna be really interesting, especially considering all that. But I think to tie that in, actually, guys, something that also I want to talk about with localization was the recently announced localization and distribution of Free Eternal Summer.
Right.
Something that I think we need to talk about with it is, first off, it's really weird that Funimation is doing just Season 2. Because first off, I would like to announce that, in case anyone who didn't know, Free is getting dubbed by Funimation, but just Season 2. That's the only stipulation.
Is it just they've said that they're only dubbing Season 2, or are they just kind of saying Season 2 so that way they can announce all the characters?
They don't own the rights to Season 1 is the problem. I don't think they were able to get
it. They don't own the rights to Season 1. That's the problem.
That makes no fucking sense.
It doesn't, but that's just how it works. I'm not sure why they went ahead and got Season 2 without owning Season 1, but they did, probably because they thought it was worth it.
Who actually owns the rights?
Crunchyroll is the owner of Free.
Someone on my Twitter feed a couple of weeks ago, I think he was from Crunchyroll, or like one of like the international arms for Crunchyroll, like I think Crunchyroll Germany. Don't know the legitimacy of it, but apparently says that Crunchyroll might have the license, but
yeah, they do. That's basically what's happened.
It's in limbo.
Because Funimation has previously...
Well, they might have the streaming license, but they definitely don't have the home video license, which I'm surprised Funimation ever snagged.
Can you imagine if Season 1 ended up getting dubbed and it was just a completely different cast to Season 2?
No, that's what I'm hoping happens. I think that'd be amazing
that'd be so
if they got it. Because I think what's interesting, right, is that they can't do it. Crunchyroll does have the rights to distribution. They don't... Because that's the thing, right? When they bought the rights to electronically distribute it, they also co-signed to get the rights to physically distribute it, and that's where the problems are occurring right now. So Funimation has contacted Crunchyroll to try to resolve this, and there's been no word officially. Maybe there has been.
Well, it feels odd that there wouldn't be, because this has kind of happened before. Yeah. Like, I own copies of Toradora, and you can find not only sub, but also the dub over on Crunchyroll right now if you want.
Yeah, I mean, Crunchyroll seemed like the most open company in terms of new age anime, so I wouldn't be surprised if a deal is made in the near future.
And that's why they support Anime Planet, which is fucking crazy.
They also have the distribution rights to 5 centimeters per second, and they did their own redub of it, didn't they? And their own release.
Yeah, they did.
For it.
No, they did.
So
yes.
Like, maybe we'll see something from Free. Maybe they'll end up doing it, because if they don't, that's like money just not being like, or that's like potential not being taken advantage of. You know?
I'm just honestly worried about how Eternal Summer as on disc is going to sell, with everyone knowing it's a Season 2, or people who buy it and don't know it's a Season 2 are just going to be like, well, what the fuck is all this? Like, it doesn't start as a show.
I do wonder what was the point in that, because a lot of people won't buy it because doesn't come with Season 1.
Well,
it's not like you can show it to people.
I think there's enough of an audience that know about Free that want to hear it dubbed. Because, you know, Free has a very specific audience that they are pandering to in terms of the dub, especially. If you look at the casting,
the cast for the dub. So Free, it's no like surprise that of course it's targeting women and all the fujoshis that are amongst them.
Shout out to Vic Mignogna.
I was gonna say the interesting thing, right, is that they've got Johnny Young Bosch, they've got Vic Mignogna, they've got Todd Habercorn. Like, it's just a list stacked with all of just these teenage heartthrobs, and
and then there's Greg Harris.
And then there's Greg Harris. And then there's Negima.
My poor Nagi-san.
My boy Nagi.
Nagi.
Never failing to represent Negi. Come on, you're pro.
Nagi.
And so, but okay, so I think something that's very important that we talk about, just touch base on it, was all the backlash surrounding the recent announcement of Vic Mignogna being announced to be the voice actor of, was it Rin?
Yeah.
It was Rin, yeah.
It was Rin. Yeah, it was Rin. Yeah.
And there was just the internet just backfired. Like, it was so odd.
No, it wasn't the internet. It was a specific website that begins with T and ends in R.
So
Twitter.
The thing about T-Umblr is that since it's predominantly very, superficially, strong-willed, like, feminists and everything.
That's a really nice way to
That was really carefully worded.
that was tiptoeing around the very obvious minefield.
I'm just like, I don't want to offend people.
Strong, independent women who believe in feminism. The problem that has occurred is that they do not believe Vic Mignon has the right, is the weirdest thing, the right to voice Rin, because they believe that him being homophobic will get in the way of them offering him yaoi of Mako X Rin and Makoto X Rin and everyone bumming each other. Oh, and that's going to get in the way of them signing all that yaoi doujinshi.
You're talking about the petition that got signed up to get him.
And so,
this thing it's wrong on so many fucking levels, because first and foremost,
it is
him being a homophobe on the grounds that he refuses to sign homoerotic fan art is bullshit. Because just on a simple level, it's sexual harassment. Let's say, as a random other example, some random female voice actress gets handed like hetero doujinshi, and she says, "I don't want to sign that." That's exactly the same thing, and
it's
that's
not
fine.
a problem. But they're making it a problem.
You know, so how is this a problem for him to not want to sign homoerotic fan art?
It's not a problem, but they are making a problem. But the other problem is, does he actually suit Rin's role? Because he was such an obvious choice, just because of his fan base, his like personal fan base. I think a lot of backlash came from the fact that, it was just obviously more pandering rather than is he actually suitable for the voice. I mean, I can't speak for it myself because I haven't seen all the three, and I'm not Sarah. But I will say that even I could have guessed.
Yeah.
Ironically, that Vic Mignogna could have been cast in there, and I thought, it might not be the best casting.
I think that's something I'd like to bring up in this case is like I've never seen anything like this before. I think I should first have to say that I've never seen this kind of petitional outlashing towards a dub. Like, it's really odd. Like, of course we have got dubs that we just think are bad, right? But I've never seen like a dub that's in pre-production have its own cast announced and people just explode. Like, I thought it was really odd. And I think that aside, though, it's like just looking at this from the outside looking in, it just kind of seemed ridiculous. We were just a bunch of spoiled kids who were like, no, don't want this guy doing my dubs.
But the thing is,
that's kind of been happening for the longest time. Like, I remember conversations in the past when people like Johnny Young Bosch got casted as something. Just like, oh, he's in Bleach, he's been in everything, stop casting him in shit.
I think it's just because there's so many people that just fucking hate the ground that Johnny Young Bosch walks on.
Yeah. And then, yeah. But anyway, to move on to the topic, what have you guys been watching? Which is something which is a segment we haven't done
around all the time.
Such a long time.
You did it in the last episode.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
No,
did we?
We never do.
But Alan,
I think we meant to do it, but then we kind of got sidetracked because of something someone said.
Oh, we get sidetracked. That's not new at all.
No, that's definitely old news.
No, it's not. That's kind of what we do.
I mean, we've made a fandom around that.
So we're getting sidetracked. We're getting sidetracked now. But Alan,
no, we are.
As the newbie of PodTaku, why don't you start us off today? What have you been watching?
Okay.
Or want to talk about?
Most recent thing I've watched in its entirety that I spent my last week watching was actually YuYu Hakusho.
YuYu Hakusho, you watched all of it?
Yeah, in preparation
That's
for
impressive.
the review that may well be up by the time that this podcast comes out. Watch Hakusho.
Like 3 months from now, yeah, sure.
I'm not sure who that was firing a shot at, to be fair.
Probably myself.
Maybe me, but is it really?
Yeah, on the ground, I did thoroughly enjoy it by the end of it. But a question I want to pose to everyone, which is something that happened to me when I started watching this thing, and has happened to me to watch something in the past, is off the bat when I watched this, I was kind of in the mind of, oh god, have I missed the time I should have seen this show? Whether it was that this show was meant to be watched in the 90s when it was aired, and that was like the optimal time to get full enjoyment out of it, or just a simple case of like, I've seen too much now, so I can't enjoy this to the max, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you
I
ever
mean,
had
that's
that with anything before?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But let's start with what you actually thought of it to make you realize this thought process. Did you not like it?
No, I did like it. It just took me. Well, I think the main thing is that it starts off very slow. Like it's 112 episodes, and like
Yeah.
the earlier arcs are kind of establishing things.
It doesn't really start until the Dark Tournament arc.
Yeah, until the Dark Tournament, it doesn't really like. It's a lot of kind of like, this is the world. Here's what happens in the world.
And
here's
that's
him.
like a good 20-30 episodes, if I remember correctly.
It is about
Maybe
30
longer.
episodes in. Like the first actual kind of fight between people with powers is like 12 episodes in, because the only fights like in the because it's
Yeah.
with Genkai's little mini training tournament where the first
Yeah.
actual kind of powerful fight
Yeah,
starts.
I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the
So
time
d-
it actually got around to the Dark Tournament and everything, I was all into it. Like the action scenes don't really hold up that well, just because of the
No.
time, and like action is the biggest thing that comes into like how animation can age. And with it being purely an action-based series, some of it did fall a bit flat. But other than that,
Yeah.
like even though like shonen action series, I do like them. They're not my favorite thing in the world at all. I can definitely tell why this thing is so well loved by the
So
people
loved.
that watched it back in the day. Like it's just like it's got so much charm.
I mean,
and fun
it still is loved by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of those classic shonens that, you know, if you're a big shonen fan, you should have watched. And I watched Yu Yu Hakusho back when I was a bit younger in my shonen phase, and you know, back then I didn't care about crappy animation, and I just enjoyed it because it was a pure shonen. Because like I say this now as an adult, but I complained back then about there being too many tournaments in shonen, but now there's just none.
Yeah.
There's no more tournaments.
Tournament shonen was like a thing of that era.
Tournaments are pretty
Yeah.
rare.
It's just not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, it was. It was the staple of shonen.
And I miss a good old tournament shonen. Like the reason I got so excited about Sword Art Online 2, the beginning, was because I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this is an actual tournament. And then it kind of pitted off from just being a pure tournament. But I would love to see another just pure tournament in a new age shonen.
I think I just thrive on tournaments just because of how much I adore sports anime, to be honest, and it's kind of one of the big things that links a lot of them.
I mean,
Yeah, I guess sports.
Well, you can't really have a sports anime without some form of tournament or competition.
That is true. I think sports anime is definitely the exception to that rule. But in terms of fighting, I can't. When was the last time there was a tournament anime? Apart from Hunter x Hunter.
The tuning exams.
I was about to say, I honestly think it's probably the tuning exam era.
Yeah, I think it was.
That was the last clean cut, this person versus this person.
Because Hunter x Hunter was a remake, so I don't count that.
And that was from like the 90s, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it must have been the tuning exams. Feel free, audience,
To
if,
chime in.
to chime
and
in.
Tell us what you think.
the last. I mean, I obviously don't see enough. Or,
What was the year that came out anyway?
What, Hakusho? Or?
The
No,
tuning
the
exams
tuning
was
exam.
animated, I would assume, around 2003, I think.
I think Bamboo Blade is more recent than that.
That's more
Although that
sports
could be
anime
considered
as well.
sport.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Ken, what were you going to say?
I mean, it's not like a tournament anime or a tournament shonen anime, but there was a tournament in it at some point because I remember like cutting off my ties with it then, or at least for the time being. But
Okay.
Bring it up.
Fairy Tail,
Yes, say Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
Fairy Tail.
Fairy Tail definitely does, yeah.
You could consider things like Future Diary to be a sort of tournament.
You know what? He's not wrong. It falls under your accusations, but yeah.
Yeah.
I do what you're saying, Garnt. It's
Yeah.
a very interesting, old dying thing. Of just straight up this character versus this character.
It's this character fights this character, and one character will be
and
the
then
winner.
the winner fights this character. And then
Yeah.
the winner of those two fights this character until they get to the person who's been
Yeah,
foreshadowed
it's like
the
a
whole
fighting
time.
game storyline.
I mean, you might say like Future Diary, instead of 1v1 tournaments, we have a free-for-all battle royale tournament. I mean, we see like Future Diary, Danganronpa.
Yeah, you stuff like Batum, everything, all of that.
I think that might be the new age tournament that
Is a free for all. Well,
yeah.
because I know the most recent example that I hold very near and dear to myself is, of course, stuff like Fate Zero. Even it's a
Yeah.
tournament
Yeah,
technically.
very much
It's a
so.
tournament, but it's a free for all. It's not a person versus person advancing through a ladder.
I think it's because it can be written more complicatedly and
Yeah.
more interestingly.
I think it'll. I will say, I think, like from an objective standpoint, or just from a subjective one, rather, my opinion of it, I think that the free for alls tend to have the much more interesting, compelling stories, but they don't have the stuff that the 1v1s did. Like, it didn't...
Yeah.
The 1v1s, I think the thing that it conveyed the most was it had just, like, this immense kind of build-up and anticipation that was really incredible.
Hype.
I think a lot of it is that it actually has like very clear rules.
Yeah, that's not
because it's in an organized scenario with an audience.
I would also say though that most of the free-for-alls aren't really free-for-alls because they just take the main character and they put them individually against all the other contestants. Like if you wanted to consider Fate Zero like a tournament thing, well, Archer just basically sat on his ass.
Spoilers, but yes.
And there wasn't like a massive audience of people going, "Knob him in, Saber, way." I bet this many Fate Zero dollars on this person to win.
But with the recent Fate Stay Night, has anyone been watching this Fate Stay Night? Actually,
I'm waiting.
I'm
Have
waiting
not.
till it's...
Is everyone waiting?
Done. Yeah. No. I feel you.
It's really good.
I'm gonna watch the first 12 episodes when like it gets to 12, and then I'll wait it down.
I'm gonna catch up at some point when I have some time to, because I usually like watch seasonal anime on my phone like before I go to bed on the Crunchyroll app, but that's just an insult for something made by UFO Table, so I have to watch it on my TV.
How big's your phone?
But it's like
How big's the phone?
It's a Galaxy Note 3. It's a big
not
phone.
big enough.
It's bigger than probably my TV used to be when I had an N64.
Well, when it's up to your face, like it's probably fucking gigantic.
Yeah, the perspective
I should
shift.
do that thing where you get a cardboard box and cut a hole in the top and just sit in that and be like, I'm in a little cinema.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that though, because like I feel the same way, Alan, about some stuff. Right? Is like if I can get if there's a 1080p version of it, I usually refrain from watching it at work when I'm supposed to be working because I have my laptop there, and it like caps out at 720. Usually is like the max that it can actually display. Whereas my one at home does 1080, so I reserve that for other things.
Yeah, I think it's just so much easier to watch anime that, for me, the anime that I'm caught up in the season are the ones that aren't totally shit, but aren't good enough for me to care about actually paying attention. So stuff like Sword Art Online and Akame ga Kill a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I caught up with it because it was just something there that I could just watch at any time and not have to give a shit about. But with Fate Stay Night, I'm just like, I need to give this 100% of my attention. It needs to be like perfect quality. The rooms need to be dim.
Yeah, need the candles and everything.
You need the candles.
You need to make sure you're not going to be disturbed.
No, it's very true.
Light some incense.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true, because, like, whenever I'm watching, Nanatsu no Taizai, which is Seven Deadly Sins, I could watch that. I've watched that on my phone, on the train. I watch it on my iPad on the train here, actually, right now. But whenever it's something that I'm really, like, interested in watching, something like, Eno Battle no Nichijo Kei Nakade, which I didn't think
Oh my god, was that not a surprise? Holden, was that not a surprise?
I never thought I would think this show is my favorite of the season, but I think it might be my favorite of the season, up there with the Magi Brilliant Park. To preface it, it's a show made by Studio Trigger, people who made Kill la Kill and Inferno Cop. This show is so unlike their previous work, and I love it. It's really good to watch.
I came in watching it to hate it, and I was
I did too.
surprised. Like
I came to just be like, this is gonna be terrible. And I just left, and it's just this really great cast of characters. Yeah. Recently, these episodes are conveying these emotions in the serious like tone really well. It's a total shocker to me that I like Eno Battle as much as I do, but I really do. If you really want to watch something that's fun and has really good characters, in my opinion, but more importantly, is fun and funny to watch as well.
It's really funny. I think the voice acting in there is great.
Oh, the voice acting is amazing.
I can't normally comment on voice actors because they're in Japanese and I can't normally judge them. But the main character in this one, whoever does his voice, just somehow hits every joke just perfectly. And I've never seen a Japanese voice actor actually do that to me because I always prefer dubbing when it comes to comedy. But this just... Whoever voiced him hits every note perfectly, and I love the series for most I've seen of it.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm totally finishing it. It's been really good so far. And I think that, like, it's been a problem recently with me, actually, oddly enough, is like, so like watching that show and then transferring to something else, it's so odd because it's really hitting me just how diverse this season is. This season, really, if I was to label as one, like, genre or theme, I really couldn't. Like, it's really interesting how we are at this point in this season specifically, this winter season, or fall rather, and we're just. It's going in all directions. I think it's fantastic.
It really is.
It's fantastic.
I mean, like,
it's all good.
I'm like,
It's the crazy thing.
I'm loving Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso to death.
I mean,
right
I think
now.
everyone is loving
It's
that.
so good.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the series that's collectively in everyone's top.
Yeah, that is.
No. I cannot. We can't say that because there are people that hate it for basically one reason, and that is Kosei, the main character. People don't like how he's quote unquote bullied.
Yeah, but
they
Ken,
see that
some people thought a virgin got pregnant and gave birth to Jesus. So
Valid.
I like how we tiptoed against Tumblr and just full out just declared war against Christianity there. It's just another episode of PodTaku.
Did you actually want to keep to what we've been watching? Did you want to carry on moving around the circle?
But,
we can go to Ken if you want, and Ken apparently wants to talk about Kimi no Uso.
yeah, well, Kimi no Uso. I like 15-year-old girl Ken comes out a lot in that show or with the show.
We know.
It's like. It's
Isn't
just
that just like permanent
good...
Ken a lot of the time?
You're probably right, but it's like
just...
all of like the good like romance feels. Like you have your childhood friend girl that probably won't win. You have like just the
hopefully
probably.
That's a very, very optimistic way of describing it.
Here's the kicker though. I
Hopefully
legitimately think that Kaori's the best girl. Which is different, because that normally never happens.
Yeah, you usually have terrible taste.
Yeah, no, I really, really like her. Like, she has a wonderful personality.
You're usually like, oh man, Onodera's gonna win. And I'm like,
I mean,
oh man, I want my submissive bitches who just listen to anything I say.
Shut up, she's gorgeous. Okay, but anyway, no, but it's not to say that I don't feel bad for childhood friend girl, but I just wouldn't mind if she didn't win.
Yeah, because
I could have probably put that better.
Can she play a violin? No.
Like, she doesn't play music.
Can she play any instrument?
Yeah.
No, she's not worth being in the
exactly.
show.
Yeah.
She can play the softball bat.
Can I just talk about how amazing every concert scene has been in the show?
God. And the CG looks nice too. It legitimately looks nice.
It legitimately looks
I think
nice.
a lot of it is down to how on point the thing's sound design is. Because not just with the music itself, like in the sequence where he's underwater and he can't hear his notes and everything, sort of the sound of the empty keys and sort of the muffled audience and everything like that. It was just so unbelievably detailed.
And the art style.
It's the thing about a lot of shows like this, where they have a music scene and they kind of describe how awesome it is, let's say, and you hear it and it could be average, but because of the description it just sounds more awesome. With the girl playing the violin, you could hear how different it sounds to every other performance in it. It doesn't need the description to go along with the performance. That's what I loved about it, because the music in there is great by itself, like anime or not. I thought that was really, really well done, and then it's got a great romance story on top of this. Yeah. So it's just doing everything right at the moment.
Like there are two, like, apart from the music, of course, there are two like really explicit things I love about it. The first thing is the art style. It looks gorgeous. Like
Who's it by?
It's by A1.
A1.
I mean, A1. People would talk shit about them, but I think they're one of the best.
I think that they did.
They're
wonders
fantastic.
With this. I mean, like I kind of got like Idolmaster vibes almost, like from the concert scenes.
Oh, no wonder you like it.
Yeah, no, because it does. No, like if you look at the stages, right?
Oh shit, I hate it now.
If you look at the stages at like wherever the Kimi Uso concerts take place, like they have like the crazy lighting going on, and it like they kind of just present it in the same way that they do with the Idolmaster. And those stages.
Man, I can't believe you just compared it to Idolmaster again.
Just a shame he can't do.
Why would you do that to me, Ken? Why? Why would you just take a good show and go, yeah, it's just like Idolmaster?
Idolmaster's wonderful.
No, Idolmaster's the good one. We're not talking about Love Live.
We're not, okay. I do like Love Live a lot, but I do think Idolmaster, the presentation is a lot better. But that's the first thing. The second thing is that the show, it tries hard to be really poetic. And I actually don't mind it. Like, usually that kind of leads to, like, over-dramatic lines and and just it sometimes it just gets too line heavy, or like shows can get too line heavy. But this is like just like right on the money. Like there's
I think a lot of it is specific little nuggets of dialogue just really hit home.
Yeah, like
the thing about friend A and stuff like that, and all of that kind of stuff. It's just kind of, it really just
there's a line in this I think episode like 5 or 6 where Tsubaki, childhood friend girl, she gets confessed to by her senpai, who she really adored a lot, but obviously she loves Kosei a lot. She kept saying over Daijobu, it's fine. She said that like over and over again, like 2 or 3 times. But like it was kind of like spaced out, so the dynamic or the kind of meaning of the line kind of changed, even though it was saying the same words. Like it was so simple, but yeah, as Alan said, it really hit home. Like it has a lot of those.
I mean, the thing about it is that every episode hits me in a different way. I get emotional every episode, which is really rare in anime because, like, I think the last anime that did this consistently was Anohana, and that was because there was a fucking song playing in the background every episode that just told you to go, hey, you want to cry? Here's a song. Actually, talking about Anohana, I did recently watch the Anohana movie, and oh god, it's like the most pointless movie of all time.
It was pointless, but I did get
more A1.
More A1 and more No Itanema too. Like it lines up pretty well, and we are getting some foreshadowing to some what can be some sad developments. I'm getting some vibes. And I don't know if I like them, but
I think that A1 is fully aware that Anohana is like an IP that they're like willing to touch again.
It's kind of too popular not to, and A1 know when to make a sequel.
I don't know how though. Menma can only die once.
I know, but now everyone else is gonna die.
She can come back to life again though. Imagine that.
She
just comes back to life.
Menma 2!
They did it once.
I mean,
it was a thing.
Menma 2.
Menma harder.
Menma Junior.
Well,
the revengeance.
It actually ends up being like some random thing that's just set around a family of deer, because Menma gets reincarnated as a deer.
So it would be like Nichijou.
No, watching the movie made me realise how important that song was. Because watching the movie, and they were playing like scenes that had that song in the background, and without that song, it was just so much less emotional. It was just like, I remember feeling something in this scene. And
here's the thing about the Anohana movie for me. I watched it. I watched it in theaters last year. Yeah, and I was contemplating up until like right before then if I should watch the show over, but I had heard like almost like right before that it was a recap, so I was like, okay, I'll just watch it. I won't have to rewatch the show. I'll just watch the movie. And I watched the movie, and I at that point I hadn't really remembered much from the show. It almost was like watching Anohana again for the first time, just remembering little bits like as I go on, but not like a whole lot. Yeah. So as kind of like a second way to introduce myself to the series again, I actually thought it did a pretty good job, because I was able to kind of channel like the same emotions that I was feeling again.
Yeah,
which was like
I think that like the importance of the film, right, establishes that and being the mindset of when the film was released. So Anohana came out in 2011, and then the film came out in 2013. Yeah. And so the difference in time kind of makes sense why they did everything in this. But if you were someone watching Anohana for the first time and watched this anticipating it as a sequel, you would feel it's just a recap.
Yeah.
Like, it would lose a lot of what it was.
How was it watching in theaters? Because this is an interesting topic, because watching anime in theaters is such a rare,
so good.
Such a rare thing.
Very rare.
I mean,
such a rare thing.
Living in New York City, or I don't live there like full time at this point because I'm in school. But like whenever I'm there, usually like anime movies come up. Like Expelled from Paradise is going to be there
Oh yeah, me too.
Unfortunately,
I'm so excited for that.
Unfortunately,
I'm so jealous.
I'm going to be away from home.
I'm really excited. I'm
It's
seeing that as well.
It's like in like a week or two, right?
Yeah, it's in next week. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I'm going to be
man.
here in Rochester, so I can't. Go
I'm actually seeing 2 anime films next week. Oddly enough, I'm seeing that and The Tale of Princess Kaguya, which is being released as well on December 5th.
But the thing with
I'm so jealous.
the thing with the Anohana movie, right? Specifically, was there were actually people going there to watch the movie by itself without watching the show first.
I mean, there's always going to be, because it's a theatre, and people
Yeah.
get dragged to it because it's a theatre experience. I mean, I've only seen one.
And they automatically think that it's a,
Yeah.
you don't need anything
But,
to go in beforehand.
I would go to a theatre to watch an anime movie just because it's an anime movie in
right.
theatre. I mean, the only theatre movie I've seen is, thanks to Alan, Evangelion 3.0, and that was absolutely amazing in theatres. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much if it wasn't in theatres. And
It's definitely a big change, because I mean, Princess Mononoke has always been one of my favorite Ghibli films because of how fucking amazing it is. But when I saw that in the cinema, long after I'd seen it for the first time, it completely fucking blew me away in a way completely different to how I saw it the first time, just because of the sheer scale of that film.
I wish I watched Madoka Magica 3 in theatres.
Oh my god, that was wonderful.
I think I would have enjoyed it more.
It's not
more.
because it's not, like, movie aside, just hearing the reactions of the people in the theater at the end made the thing for me. No, because here's the thing, right? Like, when the movie ended, there was just dead silence. Like, no one was talking. It was just cut. And then like count to 5, and then all you hear in the back is, "What the fuck was that?" and the greatest part was they were giving away the pencil boards, right? In the US,
Ken's coveted pencil
the
boards.
pencil boards. No, and
Pencil boards.
The true mark of an otaku.
Everyone
Pencil
got
boards and
theirs.
clear files.
Everyone got one when they walked in the theater. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, I got Homer! Oh my god, I got Madoka! Oh my god, I got Mommy!" And then, like, at the end of the movie, like, when everyone was, like, just gathering in the lobby, there were people like, "Does anyone want to trade for Homura?" And everyone was like, "No."
Man, it's but to build off of what Ken's saying, right? Is it's just the environment is so unique, impalpable.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because you really feel. It's not a very verbal agreement, but you feel like this almost subconscious form of like acceptance, right?
Well, that's a feeling you get at conventions.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was about to tie to, right? It's very comparable to like whenever we were at conventions, right? Because I remember when we went to Anime Central last year, and when we all got there, it was just like, man, it was like the best time ever, man. It was because the thing about everyone being there is, everyone's is comparable in some way to you.
Yeah.
They may not be like you. You may think that they smell terrible. They may have a lot of zits, but they're in some way comparable to you in some way.
It's not only just like the communal experience. It's like the same just kind of general mindset of you're buying a ticket for this and you're sitting down and watching it. So like paying admission in itself kind of gives you a different kind of mindset in comparison to watching it at home, torrenting it, or buying a physical copy.
I mean, it's like the cognitive dissonance of you purchasing something automatically gives it value, even if it's subconscious, because you did spend money, and thus it has value.
Exactly.
That's the appeal of buying gachapons, right? Is like, is you buy them, and maybe it's just cognitive dissonance speaking, but when you buy those dogs, you're like, I think he's happy to be owned by me. Like,
and then you're like, that's a nice fucking dog.
That's a nice fucking dog right there. Shout out to Solo Travel Blog.
My boy Dustin.
Dustin. It's really unique. And I think that it's interesting that we are... First off, I thought it was really surprising that we got Exile to Paradise anywhere in the US showing.
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy. Because it's interesting how we always would hear about the films being released in Japan, and we'd
Yeah.
always have to sit patiently for like a good 8 to like 16 months at times.
Do you know what memory I remember?
For me, it was Wolf Children. What's yours?
For me, it was Disappearance of Harry Suzumiya, because it got released on Christmas, and I remember the Harry community going, "Oh my god, this is the best thing ever! You gotta just watch cam rips, just watch cam rips."
Watch cameras. Just do it. Watch the cameras.
It's just that good. I'm just like as hyped as you are all making this out to be, and for good reason, because Harry Disappearance was
Yeah, no,
fucking
you don't want to
amazing.
watch a camera
But
of that.
I was,
Yeah,
I was
no.
like, I will never lower myself down to cam rips.
That was the same thing for,
I've partook in a single cam rip in my time, and
Really?
I would probably say I regret it.
What was it?
What was it?
Yeah.
For?
It was Ava 2.0. Legit, it was still amazing. The worst thing was someone like dropped the camera halfway through, and like people are walking past, and I'm just like, man, I feel so dirty. This is the worst.
But here's an interesting.
How far was this into your fandom? Like,
Well,
we just talked about how we couldn't watch Fate Stay Night unless it's like full 10.
And here you are watching
it was a
fucking
long time ago that Ava 2.0 came out.
because it was the release. Yeah,
Yeah, it was on release.
2007.
2.0,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, because something that I think is just really interesting to bring up with you guys about just films in general, and for that matter, OVAs recently. The most common example, or the one I remember the most clearly, was recently with the release of Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn and the finishing of it, as well as Exiled in Paradise. Both of the films, at their screenings, actually had physical copy releases on sale while they were there.
I mean, that's a really good marketing tale.
I think it's really interesting, because you could get a copy of it
I
right
think
now.
the thing with Unicorn is that it was they were just kind of releasing them as OVAs, and I'm sure the screening was just kind of a publicity thing to coincide with the release of the DVDs. But I'm not sure if that's just kind of the same case from Expelled from Paradise, because to me that is just a full-fledged film in its own right, isn't it?
It is a film, and that's what makes it so interesting. Is that like you could hypothetically right now go out and find an actual BD copy of it, because they're selling it at the theaters while after it's being screened. And I think that's a really interesting marketing move that they're taking with this, because it's kind of like they're showing recognition of how much turnaround time is needed for a film, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, for instance, like most recently, I think a lot of us have seen Interstellar, right?
Oh.
In 70
Yeah,
mil, no less.
Yeah, so I saw it in 70mm as well. Shout out to Navy Pier. Thanks for letting me watch that film. Interstellar, right? So like we saw it just, I'm just saying Interstellar because it's a cinema experience recently. It doesn't have to be Interstellar. But like, can you imagine like going to see that or Gone Girl or something, right? And having the release there. Like that would be such a hard concept to wrap my head around.
I mean, look. Like when I was a kid, my parents would take me to Atlantic City a lot. You know, so we'd get to, like, as a result of them like playing, you know, a fair amount in the casinos, we'd get comps, including free rooms. So like every like other weekend, or maybe like just once a month, we'd go over to Atlantic City and I'd stay in the hotel rooms, and I'd have nothing to do other than, you know, watch TV and play whatever's there, whatever's free, basically. But there would be points where I'd just like look through the pay-per-views and look through the video on demand stuff, and they got
Go past the porn.
They got go past the porn. They got
Gross girls.
They got to the point.
Not enough lolicon. Not interested.
There was a
No dolls.
There was a point where, you know, the blockbuster movie releases would be on there.
I do remember
like
this.
the month of, if not right away. I'm probably not right away, but like really
No,
close.
I do know what you're talking about, and that's pretty crazy,
It blew
isn't
my
it?
mind. Like I could not believe
No,
it. Like I
it's-
never went out and bought it, but
the earliest release I've seen of any blockbuster movies is on fucking airplanes. Like every time I fly from somewhere, I swear you get blockbuster releases on airplanes.
I think a lot of it is down to timing, because something that's actually quite crazy is, remember how recently Guardians of the Galaxy came out? that's already out just in time for the PGP.
I think it's because they're just trying to combat fucking the internet, basically.
It's just for Christmas. If something's coming around anywhere close to Christmas, you want the disc out.
It's strategy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Like, there are, like, newer strategies, like, being tested out. Like, I think it might have been Wreck-It Ralph or Frozen, one or the other. But there's a thing where you were able to get the movie a week or two early through digital distribution.
I mean, I don't like the thing. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm glad you brought up Frozen because, like, can I just say, how the fuck did Tumblr get the entire movie in GIF form in perfect quality before
the DVD came
before any release?
It's Tumblr. Give them a few months and then they'll do it again in 3D.
It's like,
someone on Tumblr probably has a screener copy. Like,
yeah, because like I remember I hadn't seen Frozen, but I knew the entire movie in GIF form before I ever saw Frozen, and I was like months before the actual release. So I don't know how the fuck Tumblr do what they do.
Magic.
I'd also like to say that you guys all decided to abandon my topic idea of talking about anime.
All right, so
Tristan, what have you been watching?
I just don't think it was good enough, Alan. It was a nice try. It was good effort.
Wait, hold on. I have one more show that I want to talk about. Well, not even just talk about. I just want to say that I'm watching right now.
Right here.
Sure.
Okay, go.
Space Brothers.
Oh yeah.
You're taking.
Nice.
I'm picking it back up again because I was on like episode 60 and like put it on hold. And I'm
gonna watch that before the end of the
I
year.
stopped somewhere like 2025. I should go back to it.
It's still really good, but it's slow. That's like my only gripe with it is that it's slow, but it's like if I was watching this weekly, I probably would have been better off.
Man, I remember when slow wasn't a problem for me, and I would just go through it and just yeah. And now it's like 13 episodes.
No, but here's the thing.
Wow, I don't have a month of my life to give to
Here's
this.
the thing. I started Space Brothers when it first started, so I watched the show almost 2 years ago. That was like pretty much on the first leg of my anime watching journey, or whatever you want to call it.
No, I mean, it's weird how I do remember when Space Dandy specifically, and not Space Dandy, when Space Brothers came out. And
Those shows couldn't be more different.
But I think the oldest one that I remember being released was, I remember when Hunter x Hunter just came out, and I remember when Fairy Tail just came out. And looking at those now, I'm just like, how the fuck did I ever watch? How did I ever see this when it came out? Because I didn't watch it, but I was aware that, like, it was like one of those old things where it's like, this episode just came out of this, and I was like, huh, what's a fairy tale? Like,
what's a fairy tale? Why is it spelt wrong?
I was like, fucking horrible subs. I was like, you just suck.
Wait, so fairies have tails?
I was like, there's obviously been an error.
But yes, Tristan, what have you been watching? I don't know.
What haven't I been watching at this point? My God.
I mean, choose.
That's a life question. That is.
Put on your roulette wheel and just spin and just name something you want to talk about. Just.
Trigun, actually.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, 1990s.
Good old.
So I rewatched I rewatched some of Trigun, and I rewatched most of Trigun. Not all of it because I had like half a script written, and I didn't need to go through the entire damn thing. But I found it interesting, even though the animation is ridiculously dated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just how much the actual story and the characters
are not
held up.
Yes, I would agree.
Like a lot.
I agree.
Here's a question: did you watch it dubbed?
Yes.
Yes.
I love the dub of it.
I tried to watch it subbed.
Yeah, the dub.
The dub's so good.
Has not aged at all. Actually, this brings up a really interesting question. We'll get back to Trigun, but we'll talk about Yu Yu Hakusho and Trigun. And how the animation has aged.
Yes.
Has there been any anime that you think hasn't aged or has aged very well?
Like from that era specifically.
From 90s?
From just anything that you think
has
has aged
well.
well.
The most recent example that, of course, I would bring up again is Knocking on Heaven's Door, the Cowboy Bebop film. Is just hasn't aged a day.
Not even Knocking on Heaven's Door, just Bebop in general.
Bebop in general hasn't aged that much at all.
I think it has. I think Bebop has.
It has.
Aged.
No, I'm not disagreeing that. That's why I bring up the movie. It has aged, and it's obvious.
Yeah.
But the film hasn't.
But not as obvious as some other things from the same
That's true.
era.
I mean,
like Trigun came out the same year. Actually, I'm pretty sure they both aired.
Actually, I think a lot of it is down to how good the Blu-ray rips of it are.
That's also a big point.
Because when I think about when I watched Pat Labor early days, the first thing in Pat Labor, which is like very 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 old at this point, late 80s. and just because it was on Blu-ray, it looked gorgeous. Just because when you release something cell animated on Blu-ray, it just comes out looking absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the nerdy explanation as to why that is because the film copy is technically infinite resolution, hypothetically. So when you get a Blu-ray scan of it, which is 1920 by 1080, you're getting a scan, and it's only getting better. When we first captured it, right, like when I first watched a lot of, for instance, Gundam Wing when it was airing, it was by like 480p basically. And so when you get an upgrade, like, it's really, really noticeable. Mm-hmm. So, like, when I first watched Bebop, I think when we all first watched Bebop, we watched it in, like, this DVD quality, you know? This 480p. When looking back at it, right, if you look even at the Blu-ray release of just even the opening, right, it really sells how much it's changed just because of just such a small transitional piece being converted from DVD to Blu-ray, which is, of course, really interesting, because, like, what could look better if it had Blu-ray is the question then, you know?
Yeah, I mean...
Like, I think Trigun could look amazing. I do think that.
Some of the examples I could think of that have aged very well are mostly anime movies, and obviously that's because they've had much bigger budgets.
Films...
Well, movies just have the higher production quality, so that makes sense.
Like, you look at early Ghibli, and honestly, like, most people still haven't caught up. In fact, basically no one's caught up.
And that's from 80s.
Yeah.
Like mentioning Princess Mononoke again, like that could be released.
Mononoke was 93.
Yeah,
it was around
that could be released
like,
today, and it's still
Mononoke
like
was.
completely top tier.
Most recently, I've seen Grave of the Fireflies and Princess Mononoke, and like I watched the Blu-ray rips for those, and they were wonderful. Like I was quite honestly like really surprised at how good Grave of the Fireflies looked.
Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive how stuff like that holds up. But, so I assume you watched Trigun, the DVD copy of it. So 40p, I'm not even aware. I don't think there actually is a Blu-ray copy of it.
Nope, there is not.
I'm pretty sure there isn't.
There might be in Japan, but it's never... well, currently it's actually... No, Funimation has a license, but Funimation never put out a 1080p rip of it. They just have DVDs out there. And I have the... not the original DVD releases, I have the Geneon remix releases.
Okay, I remember that one.
So they're slightly better quality than the original, but yeah.
I mean,
because I think the first version Geneon put out was like TV quality copies, and then the remix versions were like true 480p.
True 480p. I've never heard anyone say that.
That sounds like a really shit salesman. It's like, this is
true 480p.
If you want that classic VHS feel, you want to go for this.
No, VHS. No, that's the thing. Though. VHS isn't 480p. VHS is less than 480p.
VHS is around 360.
It's like, hey, if you pause it, it'll have these fucking lines, and the screen will just fucking shiver like it's got a fucking cold.
Man, that takes me back.
VCR emulator.
Man, it does take me back. Because I mean, like,
that'll be like a new game, VCR emulator, 2005.
I'm actually interested to
Twitch
see...
plays VHS emulator.
I'm actually okay. A question to our viewers: how many of you don't get what I'm talking about? If you don't get what I'm talking about, please raise your hands up and make us feel old.
Yeah,
because
it's fine if you do. Because be honest,
really old. You want to know what still looks good?
Yeah.
What?
Ghost in the Shell from 1995 on Laserdisc.
Oh my god! Not even joking. I actually own that.
Is the bombs.
Whoa.
Man, Laserdiscs.
That shindig is the bomb diggity.
I mean, it's really amazing when you find shit like that.
Shouts to Betamax.
I was going to say, a really interesting one was that, like, of course you'll see shit at conventions where you'll be like, DBZ was released on VHS at one point. So imagine, like, you can pack 3 episodes on a VHS tape. I'd like to point out for all the kids at home, we don't know a VHS tape, it's a video home system. But more importantly, it's a cartridge the size of a box set nowadays.
Yeah, and people get mad at you when you return them to the rental store without rewinding them.
Yeah. Oh my god, please be kind and rewind. That was the saying, the sticker on them was please be kind and rewind.
I forgot that was a
It's
thing.
such a foreign concept.
I remember a rewind story where my dad actually bought, like, this was in the latter end. It was in and around the same time DVDs were just coming out. My dad went and he bought a VHS rewind.
Oh my god.
No, I had one. It was a
and that's
car.
all it did. You popped the VHS and you closed it. It just rewound the tape for it. And I went and I, like, rewound our entire collection of VHS tapes.
But isn't a VHS rewinder
No, I had a VHS rewinder. It was a car. the top came up.
Keeping it PG.
The tape in. You put it down and it made a noise, like as if it was running.
Vroom, vroom.
The headlights would go on.
Oh my god.
Just as long as he didn't buy a DVD rewinder.
Then you got ripped off. It's funny, even looking back at early DVD cases, like they have like the cardboard front and like the plastic side that you'd latch over the front.
Those were so awful.
What about
those are just the worst.
What about the Sentai Filmworks Clannad DVD boxes?
Oh, that's fantastic. I like
those are the worst.
They had like the CDR spiral going on. Do you want disc 4?
Spinning disc cases are like the bane of my existence. I have so many of them, and I wish I could just burn them.
Just burn them.
Do you want disc 4? No, you have to dig under first.
Oh man, when it's the solemn topiary of discs, and it just has all of them.
Did you guys ever had the scratch doctor things? Like the
oh my god, yeah, totally. It's the discs with all like the toothbrush bristles on it.
Like I had one that I hand wound.
This is so good.
I had one that I hand wound a lot.
Oh my god!
I was like, this doesn't do anything. It's a placebo.
It you do that. It's like it doesn't fucking
goggles,
solve everything.
they do nothing.
No, I got it. This is not anime anymore, but on my old SNES or N64, I'm getting the cartridge out and just going.
The thing is, though, that actually worked.
No, it actually does work.
Well, I never had a problem with blowing in N64 games, but I had like an old collection of NES games that needed it. They just would not function unless you blew
That's
them.
like a necessity.
Yeah, I heard it's like static electricity or something like that. That kind of just
back in my day, we had to
blow
blow our games to make them work.
Had a game not work, and then just like a disc-based game and just blown on it, and then put it back in your PlayStation. Back in the day, this worked.
Back in the day when I had my Gran Turismo 3 version PlayStation.
Oh my god,
Gran Turismo
that really dated
spec.
it. I was gonna say A-spec, man. Because fucking, I remember when I would just take Windex to those fucking micro GameCube discs, and I'd just take I'd pour this fucking gallon of Windex on it, I'd be like, god damn it, if you don't work Super Smash Bros. Melee, I'm literally going to go fucking
On the
beat
topic
you.
of GameCube, how about that like friggin' attachment on the bottom that you could use to put Game Boy Advance games?
Game Boy things, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
The N64 had the same thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
It did actually.
For
Yeah.
Pokemon Stadium. But I think that as we mentioned earlier,
Well, no, the N64 also had the cartridge thing that you would slide in the back.
Right,
end.
I had that for Stadium.
The
and then you
Rumble
also,
Pack.
the Rumble Pack, and you had the memory card as well.
Yeah.
So, as we mentioned earlier, though, we're really good at getting sidetracked here at PodTaku.
I wonder what
Take
the
a lot of pride,
percentage of
man.
animator, not anime, we did on this one.
We still failed on Alan's challenge on talking about anime somehow.
Fuck. Was it my
But
fault? Was it my fault?
It was a
for
lot
my
of
bad
fun
influence?
talking about it regardless.
I'm sorry.
It
I'm
was.
sorry, guys. You can blame me if you want. I'm ready for
No,
the hate
it's
comments.
fine.
We tried. You tried to set us down the correct path,
And
but
we're
we
just like,
failed.
fuck that. I'm talking about VHS tapes.
It's more important anyway.
Man, Code Geass on
We need to
VHS.
inform.
That is...
It's history. You got to know where you came from.
I
know where you're going.
refuse to let this fail. Comment section. What have you guys been watching? Let's stay true. Let's stay true to our roots. Come on.
I have to bring up
And
again.
Holden will reply to the comments and be like,
I will.
That's what he
I'll be
does.
like, hey, I have Code Geass recorded for my Toonami broadcast. I've got Code Geass on a VHS tape. I love bringing that up.
Oh shit! I remember. I think I have like a whole like shelf of just Pokemon VHS that I've recorded.
With
Yeah.
commercials intact. Those are probably the best parts.
No, I had a VHS tape, right? Like, for things that I couldn't get on my TV because I didn't have cable. So there were 2 episodes of Sailor Moon, 1 episode of Jeopardy, and 1 episode of Wheel of Fortune.
Before we end the podcast, because we got to end it soon. You bring this up, Ken, and I just remember when I was a kid how little continuity meant to me.
Yeah.
Because you just watch random episodes.
No, that's the thing.
like-
I've only watched like 3 episodes of Sailor Moon in my lifetime, over and over again.
Over and over.
No, speaking about that, actually, just really quickly, I remember. This wasn't recently, but the first time I actually got a copy of the entirety of Digimon Adventure 1, I remember watching the first like 3 episodes and actually sitting there dumbstruck because I'd never seen them
That's
before.
hilarious.
Throughout reruns. I've seen more or less the entire season, but I never watched.
I know
the
that.
first
I had the Dark Masters arc the Dark Masters arc that I'd recorded on VHS, and it's like that's the only section of Digimon that I had that was actually like a solid chunk of episodes that connected. I probably watched that tape like 100 times.
I don't know if I've told this story before on the podcast.
Sure.
But I remember one day, when you're a kid and you're into anime, you didn't know what it was, but I watched every anime that was on TV that I got the chance.
Yep.
So at the time, they had Card Captor Sakura on, or Card Captors, as they call it, on TV. And I didn't care, because it was anime, and I was excited every week to come home and watch fucking Card Captors. And
Every week? Every day, son?
No, because our TV channel only broadcasts an episode every week. So this week was my anime, 20 minutes of anime that I could watch. So I came home excitedly one day to watch Card Captors, and it had been cancelled. And I was fucking pissed that it had been cancelled for this one day. And I was like, what is this news broadcast that they put over my anime? And it turns out to be 9/11.
Yes!
Oh
Yes!
I think you have told the story. I think I remember.
I do remember this.
As a child that lived in New York City during 9/11, I can tell you that I was more concerned about our fucking broadcast tower going down compared to the fact that it was like an actual building coming down. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to like laugh at 9/11.
We are not laughing at 9/11. We are laughing
But
at
it's just like, as a kid, I was just like, where's my Pokemon?
it really was. It was. Where's my Card Captors?
I think it's a very similar deal to when the Japan earthquakes happened, and everyone was like, "Is the Figma factory okay?"
Everybody was like, but Madoka episode 11, where the fuck is... Where's Madoka? Where's Madurka? And everyone was like, Godoka, and then it's like, episode 11.
Capellion got delayed.
No.
They got released 3 seasons later because of that earthquake.
No, there was an earthquake warning at some point during the spring season of 2012, because I was in the middle of an episode of Achikochi, just a slice of life.
I'm just gonna...
Of course it is, Ken.
Okay.
If you say the name of an anime, it's gonna be one.
We'll ignore the
But-
anime in question. Continue.
But I just saw an earthquake warning. I'm like, wow.
What was going down in Japan?
I feel like I just like witnessed history.
Yeah. I think the weirdest thing that ever happened is when I watched Kemfer, there was like this advert at the bottom where it was no joke. So you know how they usually don't translate it, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't translate it, but at the very end there was a picture of a man in a mugshot just next to it. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Oh man. We've got this podcast quite askew.
We need to end it.
Yes.
Best one, yes.
Yes. Yeah. So this has been another
Best
PodTaku
podcast, 10 out of 10.
So I hope you guys enjoyed us not talking about anime, talking about gaming, VHSs, and 9/11. So with that said, I've been Giguk from the Anime Zone. We keep it classy here, and with me today has been Holden from Holden Reviews.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, sign off. See you later.
Tristan from Glass Reflection.
Stay frosty, everyone.
Alan from Bakashift.
If you want to listen again, just rewind the podcast.
Damn it! Stole my joke.
And Ken from Full Circle Anime.
I was gonna say, be kind, rewind.
You can still say it. Pretend.
I just remembered. Imagine if YouTube was still the same as it was in 2006, and the viewers could
Man,
not.
if you guys don't give this a fucking 5 stars, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
And the viewers just could not buffer.
Can you imagine?
So they'd have to just listen to the podcast without.
Can
skipping
you
anything.
imagine like having to blow a cartridge before watching a YouTube video?